Becky here. Welcome to Ukulele Lesson 4. I hope you've been practicing your C and A minor and F chords from when we last met. Today we're going to learn a G chord. It's a little bit tricky, but stick with it and I promise you'll have mastered it in no time at all. The really good news is that when you've learned a G chord and you can play it smoothly as part of a chord sequence, you can play loads and loads of songs. Let's launch straight in. Your first finger needs to be holding down the second string just before the second fret. See my finger there? Now this is where it gets a bit tricky because you need to nest your second finger in on the bottom string, also on the second fret. Now, if you're struggling to do this, try twisting your wrist around a little bit, like this. Once you have those two fingers in position, it's really important that they're only touching those strings because you're going to reach this third finger over and you're going to hold down the third string just before the third fret. So just like that. And then, if we strum each string, should sound like that. Just check that you've got your fingers in the right place. Now this is a really tricky chord. If one of your strings isn't sounding properly, just try moving that finger slightly. It might be that you're not holding down the string tightly enough before the fret, or your finger might have crept on top of another string. This is a really common mistake. Sounds fine like that, but if I flatten that third finger, so at least see what starts to happen. So really make sure you're arching that third finger over and only touching that string with it. Practice makes perfect, so if you keep trying, your fingers are going to get used to where they should be eventually. I think this chord looks a little bit like a triangle. Can you see why? You might want to pause the video here so that you can just practice getting your fingers in the right place. Now it's time for a song. This is one of the many songs you can play using just 3 chords: C, F and G. Now it starts with 4 Cs. We're going to keep the pace really slow at the moment so we can change our chords. Then it's going to be 4 Fs and then another 4 Cs. Try changing without a gap. And finally 4 Gs. It's a little bit tricky to find that G chord the first time you're doing it, but practice will help. 4 Fs, back to C, and then find the G, think about it, and then back to 4 Cs. So it just rolls that 4 Cs, 4 Fs, round and round, 4 Cs again, and then 4 Gs. If you speed up, that's where it's going to start going wrong because it'll be even harder to find that G chord. So just keep it really steady. Practice changing the chords really slowly and smoothly. 4 Gs, and then I'm going to sing when it starts to get back to the C. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. Ooh, Now that's just one of the many songs that you can play with just 3 chords. Now you might find it a bit tricky at first, but if you keep practicing that G chord, I promise that it'll be worth it. Now if you notice, one thing that I did in that song was instead of strumming the 4 all the way through, in the last verse, I only strummed once, but I still counted the 4. And if you're having problems finding that G chord, that might actually help you to get to it. If you strum once, you count 2, 3, 4, strum. 2, 3, 4, strum. 2, think about your G, count. And that's another way of simplifying the chord sequence a little bit if you're struggling to find the G chord. But keep practicing and it'll become second nature. That's all from me today. It's been great to see everybody. Happy playing, stay safe, and love your G chord. Bye!